Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and I hope everyone is having a great day today. So today I'm going to talk about certain situations that had happened with me with my kitten. His name is Nipple, and also I'm going to inform you on how to take care of a kitten or when to start when a kitten should start to wean, around what age they should start. So stay tuned. So I'm going to talk about the situation that I had with my kitten 8 months ago. Alright. So his name is Lepew. I got him when he was 3 weeks old. And I was kinda a newbie per se, let's say. I had a kitten before. I had a lot of kittens before, but they were my parents used to just take care of it, especially my mom. She knows more about it. So with Le Pew, I got him and I did some research on if he should or shouldn't get bottle fed because my mother said to me, like he's a little bit old to get bottle, like he should be, starting to eat already from a plate. So I did my research and whatnot, and it basically said around 4 through 5 weeks, oh, they should start weaning. So he still didn't reach 4 weeks or 5 weeks. He was still 3 weeks. But the first 2 days when I got him, I bottle fed him. He was doing good. And then the third day I tried to push him to eat from a bowl. I had my parents' cat. I brought him, I introduced him to my parents' cat. And he saw him eat from the bowl, but he refused. He refused to eat from the bowl. So I was like, all right, you know what, like I'm not gonna force him or whatever. It's gonna take time, and I'm gonna teach him little by little. So the fourth day it came, and but like I tried to give him the milk in the plate, and so I brought him to the plate so he could smell it. I dipped my finger to the bowl and put it like in his mouth so he could know that it's his milk in that bowl. But he refused to drink it from that bowl. And whenever I took out the bottle, he'll cry. He'll be crying so much to get bottle fed. I was like, oh my gosh, all right. So I gave him the bottle, blah blah. Basically he will cry all the time if I didn't give him the bottle. The fifth day came, and I tried to do the same thing and nothing. And so I continued giving the bottle. And it was this afternoon where I was preparing his lunch. I used the KMR milk, the formula, and afterwards I was preparing it, and I was shaking it and whatnot, and I tried to put it in the bottle. I mean, in the bowl. And he looked at the milk. He knows that his milk is there, but he still doesn't try to lick the bowl or anything. He doesn't do anything, and he starts crying. He starts meowing so much that he basically crying for that bottle for me to feed him. So I gave in, and I was like, all right, let me feed him with the bottle. So I fed him with the bottle. So I fed him with the bottle, and what he did to me was the most, I don't even know, like, shocking thing ever. So I gave him the bottle, and he was laying down like flat, and I was giving him the bottle. He chews it off. The nibble of the bottle, he chewed it off, and I got so shocked. I immediately opened his mouth, but by the time I opened his mouth, he swallowed it. I stood in shock that I don't even know what to do. I didn't know what to do, because that was the first time it ever happened to me, and I was like, oh my god, what should I do? And I took him, and he didn't choke or anything. So I was like, did he actually swallow it? Was it a big piece? When I took it out, and I already saw the piece that he swallowed, and it was pretty big. He was a tiny cat. He was tiny for a 3-week-old kitten. So the piece was the size of a Tic Tac. It was literally this much. Like, this whole thing he swallowed. And the only thing that was left was just this bottom part. So you guys could believe how terrified I was. So yeah. um I was terrified, and that time my mom and my dad were not in New York City, they were in Ecuador. um and only had my younger sister. So and I was at that moment. I immediately called the veterinarian. I called the clinic to see if they were open, but they said that I needed an appointment and that they were about to close either ways because it was around 4 p.m. maybe. So I called the hospital and they told me to come immediately so they could do um testing and to see if he actually did swallow or whatnot. But they told me prior to that to check wherever I fed him to see if he spit it out or something. But I knew he didn't spit it out because I saw him swallow it. Like it was a big glove, like a big glove. So um they told me to come in and so we could do testings. So after that, I took him to the nearest hospital, which was Blue Pearl, and I took him there, and they immediately, um, received me, and they took him to take well, first they took me into a room, and they told me what happened, and I told them the story what happened, and so the veterinarian came and she came to tell me that like these things happen to many cats. They eat crazy things that we don't know why, but sometimes they do digest, but because it's rubber, we don't know if he is able to digest it. And he's less than 3 weeks. Well, I mean, he's around 3 weeks like you stated. But we're going to do some um x-rays on him to see if he did swallow the item. So within those 20 to 15 minutes, I think it was, I was crying. Like I didn't know what to do. I know he was tiny to do surgery. For a fact, that was true, and I was like devastated. I really didn't know what to do, and my I was devastated because my parents' cat went through a surgery. So my parents' cat had a surgery, which was the intestine obstruction. But his story was rare because he's a very smart cat. He has a high IQ for a cat. Like he wouldn't eat anything on the floor or whatnot for in order for it to get stuck or what. I don't know. Like he's not that type of cat to eat anything. Unless it's cat food, then he'll eat it. But other than that, he won't eat anything. So I don't know why he got sick, but his symptoms were scary, and I messed up, and I feel so bad about it. And my husband wasn't making it any better for my in the situation. He was like, "Oh, stop calling me for what you're supposed to do. It's like, oh, your fault for doing this, that." And I was like, that's not what I want to hear. So my cousin called me and she's like, "No, don't worry about it. Like you worked before. Like during that time, I stopped working, but I was on a little break. So he was like, you saved up, spend that money on him, on the kitten that you really love, and this and that." So that's what I'm at. Like that's what I cared for, the kitten's health. And so yeah, within that 20 minutes, the veterinarian came, and she told me several options that I could do because he did have the item in his body, but it still hasn't reached his stomach yet. So you'll see, I'll post up the picture of his x-ray and you'll see the item when they took the radiograph of it. So the veterinarian told me that it still wasn't in his stomach yet. It was in, by his throat, whatnot. But once it goes in the stomach, we have to wait and see because she said we really don't know if he's able to digest it or not. But if he's not able to digest it, there is some options that we could do, but it requires, well, first the first option was to do a camera scope where they put the camera in their body and scoop it out. But because he's so small and the camera is pretty big, they said that that's not an option for you. they told me about the liquid, which they said is not an option for you either because he's so small, and that he might, like if there's it's a risk 50-50 if he throws it up. It's for all cats that he's gonna have, if he throws up that liquid again, he's gonna have some liver problems and whatnot. And the other option, I forgot the other option. It was, I don't remember the other, but the last option was a surgery. But she said that the surgery in the hospital was $5,000. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like, I'm just starting off my life basically. I just got married, just came back to New York with the honeymoon. I was like, oh boy. And so it was a 50-50 chance for it to go vertical, straight down, or horizontal. If it will hit the horizontal line, then obviously he's gonna start getting the symptoms. So after that day, after I left the hospital, I threw the bottle out, and I was like, no, forget it. Like, he's not getting bottle fed anymore. So he started to eat. Well, I started to teach him how to do to eat from the bowl, but he didn't want to. He refused to eat from the bowl. So I had to spoon feed him, which sucked. Like a baby basically. That's how he started to eat without the bottle. So it was a little bit struggle, honestly. It was a struggle. But I would give him milk with cereal at first, and then I gave him milk with wet food a little bit. In order for it to go down, or whatever, the item to go down. But it was a 50-50 chance. So she gave him some medication. What was it? Hydromorphone, yeah. He gave him this, so he was a little bit drowsy. So I was super worried. Basically, they couldn't do anything. They just told me to wait and see. And if I see any symptoms of him throwing up, being tired, not eating, constipated and whatnot, to take him to the hospital. But yeah, so I was like, for that whole week, I was so scared. I was so anxious. I was like I have to prepare myself of anything, So my husband didn't want to speak to me at all. He was super sad about what happened. So I stood over my parents' house, and while they were away, I just stood there, and I didn't want to tell them anything because they were having fun in Ecuador. So I was like, alright, so I'm gonna just stay with my sister. I did, I was feeding the kitten. He was still the same as usual. He would play around, he would do anything, but I was still scared. I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be a day that he's not gonna do it, and he's gonna show the symptoms. And so I think a week passed, and a day passed, and he didn't poop. And I was kind of worried. I was like, why he didn't poop? Like, why he didn't poop? But I was like, it might be a little bit constipation. So second day passed. He still didn't poop. He didn't poop still, and I got really concerned. And so I told my cousin, he hasn't pooped for 2 days, and it's not normal. I will stimulate him because she's a kitten. I will still stimulate him, and he didn't poop or anything like that. He will pee but not poop. But he would eat a lot. He would eat a lot, and he would be like, I was like, where does the food go? He didn't even poop. And so I looked online if it's okay for a kitten to be constipated for 2 days, and it said that it's fine, but when it comes to 3 or 4 days, it could be toxic for their body. I was super worried. I was like, oh my god, why I keep Googling these things? I was so worried. After that, I think the third day came along, and he still hasn't pooped, and I was very concerned. So I called the ASPCA, and they told me that I had to book an appointment. But for that week, I booked it, but for that week there was no available appointment, so I had to wait for next week. So I told them I think that's way too long. So they recommended me to go to low cost vet mobile, which was near them. But I was like, okay. but they told me to go early because it's the first come first serve type of thing. So I was like, all right, so let me do that. And so I went over there. Yeah, it was a travel. Yeah, it was a travel. It was like 2 hours away from my house. So I got there at 11 a.m. and they attended me at 10 p.m. It was a long wait. I was the last person they were attending. So luckily I got there on time and I was the last person to sign that sheet. So when I got there, they told me, the veterinarian told me, that they're, to stick a thermometer in his butt, but not the whole thing, just like a tip, and to continue what I'm doing, and after if within those 2 days he still hasn't pooped, to come back to his office. So I was like, all right. So I did what he told me to do. I think he told me to do like once a day, to stick the thermometer. And so I did. And honestly, Lepi was a nice cat. He's a sweetheart. He obeys. He does everything. He let me do it. He didn't do a fuss about it or anything like that. So then afterwards, I told yeah. So afterwards, I think a day and a half later, yeah, I think it was a day and a half later. Yeah. So after a day overnight, I told my cousin he still hasn't pooped. So um, she told me to make pumpkin, to give him pumpkin, because it's good for the digestive system, for babies and for dogs and for cats. I was like, all right. So I went to Whole Foods to get organic pumpkin, and I went and grabbed them, and I did what I had to do. I gave them like bowl. I gave him a boil. I boiled the pumpkin, and then I gave him it with some cat wet food, kitten wet food, and pumpkin, and a little bit of milk mixed all together so it could be moist for him. And so he ate it. Well, now, and I gave him a little bit of organic olive oil, just a tiny bit. I gave him that. And he ate one out. After the second day, that's when he pooped. It was like it was like the midway of the second day, I guess, like almost nighttime. He pooped, and oh my gosh, I was sitting down, and he was digging something like around like the potato cabin my mom has. He was like, I guess digging or whatever, and I'm like, what is he doing? And I was like, oh, is he gonna poop? And so I stared at him to see if he's going to poop, and he pooped like little bits. Like, it was a little bit, but I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, he pooped. And I told my cousin, I was like, oh my god, he pooped. I was like, no, now I just gotta see, like, now I gotta see if, I had to check the poop to see if, his feces, to check if he had anything, rubber, and if he pooped the thing out. But, he didn't and whatnot. But during that week, that's when he started to, go to the bathroom more. So I continue checking. I continue giving the food that, the pumpkin with wet food and cereal a little bit, and, KMR milk, to make it moist. I gave him that. I think a week passed, and he threw up twice. But I don't know if it was overfeeding him or something. I don't know, but I was very scared. I thought he was getting the symptoms, but he wasn't. The next morning he was fine. He was just running, playing around and whatnot. He wasn't like tired. So a week passed. I made an appointment with the ASPCA to check on him, to see if he digested the thing, because like already like 2 weeks passed, or 3 weeks maybe. I'm not so sure how long it passed when the situation happened, when I had already the ASPCA. I went over there, and they took him in. They did x-rays, and thank God, I'm telling you, thank God, they did not find any item on him. They were so happy that they didn't. Prior to that too, like, we went before the situation the situation happened. We went before to get his vaccines and whatnot. Well, not his vaccine, but to check up on him. He was good and healthy, but they met him when he was like tiny, and he was growing a little bit. Like, when they met him, he was like that tiny, and then he grew like this big, probably. So they were like, no, he's a healthy cat, he's growing, so nothing is stopping him. There's nothing in in his stomach, so he probably did digest it without you knowing. I was like, but I don't know, like he probably did break it down, like his stomach was able to break the rubber down. But I told him that I checked, his like his feces and everything, but I didn't find anything. And it's like maybe there was like little rubbers that you didn't identify. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but I was so happy. I was excited. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait go. I can't wait to just go and hug my little kitten and be so happy. Love him so much. And they were all happy because they were in shock too, because they even said it, like, for a cat to break down rubber, it's pretty hard, especially for a kitten. So he got really blessed, and I was like, yes, I know, thank God. I was so happy. I thank God so much that day. Forget it. I was so happy. And for real, like, thank God that he is healthy. And yeah, so obviously he was good. That whole month I was anxious, I was scared, I was worried, and after that good news, I was a happy mother. Literally a happy mother. So with that situation, it happened around October, and I thank God a million times that he is okay, he is healthy. And so I'm telling you this because I don't want anyone else to go through it. And I will give you some tips on taking care of your kitten. So I first Googled it up and watched a lot of videos on when to wean them. But it's actually not 4 weeks. It depends on your kitten, to be honest. I will tell you this. Check their mouths. Like, put your finger around their gums to see if you feel any teeth. Once you feel any teeth, then start to wean them, because they will rip that rubber out. And so that's what the veterinarian told me too, where in my case, my kitten, Lepew, grew his back teeth, not all of them, but like I think the bottom ones he grew. But she told me that people don't really check their teeth, and they grow their back teeth first sometimes, or maybe the front teeth, but their back teeth. And in the case, Lepew had his back teeth. And so she told me that he is small for his age, but to just start weaning him. But he's you should start doing it when they're 3 weeks old, not 4 weeks or 5 weeks, because from 5 weeks they already have their teeth sometimes grown. But to wean them with probably wet food a little bit in the KMR milk. And so if you have a kitten that you're taking care of, I would suggest to wean them like when they're 4 months. I mean 4 months of 3 weeks old. And but before that, just check if they have any teeth. Because you don't want the situation. Trust me, you do not want the situation. I was going to so many hospitals and clinics. Now, if you also have a difficult cat that doesn't want to eat by themselves, do what I did. I had my kitten in my chest, or in my lap, and I would spoon feed him until he got used to it, where his food was coming from. And have the bowl next to you and see, like, spoon feed him so he knows where the food is coming from. Also, like, that's what helped me with my kitten. I had to spoon feed him. I gave him wet food, a little bit of pumpkin, and a little bit of KMR milk, and I moistened it all together. But yeah, so if they're not independent on eating by themselves, spoon feed them. So I hope you all enjoyed watching my video, and I also hope that this video helped you take care of your little one. If you have any questions or concerns, just let me know below in the comments, and also I'll be posting more videos. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like. Thank you all for watching the video, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Bye!